Da da da. There we go. Something new for you all. Okay. Straight on there. I'm surprised nobody's asked me what it is yet.
The 40th parallel north.
Alright, let's get into this and let's see if we can make our way through it in some a better pace.
I always have the same nightmare. Grandpa!
Warning. Warning.
Maybe I don't hit him because that made him move, which kind of sucked. How doing, Pap Shades? Come on. I wonder why this room was so quiet yesterday as well. I had stream mode turned on, which kind of said no to anything to get me copyrighted. I've since turned it back on because, well, who cares? The thing that I mentioned there is the hardest difficulty in this.
Previously on Romeo.
Let's get my weapons set up. Ba-da-da-da. Pap Shakes, how's Dragon Quest going for you, mate? You almost, how far into are you?
Ready, Grandpa. Hold on tight.
Modifications. We've traversed space and time and won some intense battles, and now we discover another Juliet. Okay, Romeo.
Sorry, I want to listen again. I get to replay your last stuff at my will, so more fun for me. Alan, how are you doing, good sir? How's Karma treating you?
Something infinitely mean about other people's tragedies.
There is. It's great. I'm glad to hear it, mate. Glad to hear it, honestly. Right, and then no, this go. When is it Saturday? It's kind of my last hour before bed playing it. So it's so soothing. Good. That is just what you want. It's like that. Isn't that like Celeste for you, or do you find Celeste more stressful? Or is that too input heavy? So it's not as relaxing.
Yeah.
Caution. Caution.
Agent Romeo.
No hesitation!
Let's do too fast paced, hard to stay calm. Fair.
Yeah.
That is fair enough. That is a fair enough indeed. E33 again, jumping for accepting inputs. Why have jump and accept as the same thing? It's just a no-no. Ba-da-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, I'm going to start putting things out there and start trying to get you all to use those bloody challenge points because you know, can't keep letting you all have freebies. You all got too much points.
Caution. Caution.
Yeah.
Keep your wits about you!
Really? I was unfortunate. I thought I'd lined that up perfectly as well. Gotta wait for that order to finish so we can use the time to reload there. Not wasting this time because we can't do anything anyway.
Round one!
If we do have another attempt to this, it will be with changing pins. I was looking at some of the other ones, and there are some more practical ones that I could use to make sure that this shotty is doing all the damage I want it to.
Justice.
Alan, are you currently on or off, mate? Or you're on about to be off or off about to be on? Swear I'm gonna each put a rotor up. One more shift. So off, on about to be off. Okay, fair. Okay, let's see if we can get something back here. So if the FPS drops too much in this, it is permitted to pause the timer, restart the game, and then come back into it, which I believe fixes the FPS drops. So that as that's an issue, it is part of the rules at the moment. So I can actually just go ahead and pause.
Got a second?
Oh, nice. Hey, Romeo. Come on, Romeo.
Romeo! Hey! Well,
Dead man.
Bum 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 bum. All right, isn't that then it's signatures part?
Romeo. I see. Wilco. Got a second?
yay!
Hello? Okay. Agent Romeo. Agent Romeo. Understood.
Yeah, almost done this part, and then yeah, literally it's just signatures after this.
Appreciate it.
That'll do. Roger.
Reals? What?
Roger.
I'm so happy! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Got it. Huh? Damn it! Got it.
Agent Romeo. And so it is.
I see.
Right, and then last one, and then we're out of here. I'm glad the skip part is quick in this at least. If it hadn't been quick enough, that probably would have put me off the repeat of this. But because it doesn't take that long at all, it's not too shabby.
Got a second? Agent Romeo. I see.
Oh wow. As if that last one decides to troll me and go into a spot that you can barely, it doesn't want to come out of. Really? Really? Okay, game. I see you. I see you.
Registered.
Come on, get your talkie part over. Blue song just in my head now.
Okay. Wilco. Wilco.
Right, let's go. Does it tell you how far you got in your game, Alan? Does it say how high you've climbed up? If so, what's your PB, mate? Couldn't be intrigued. What is the old personal best, though? Okay, so this is the first generator code. So there is 4 generators. Other one is up here. Now we want to go down here. Or do we? No, we do. We do. We need it beforehand. And then we're going to head back up and go to the courtyard. It doesn't, but I know I'm right next to my PB at the moment. Oh, okay, okay. That's interesting. It doesn't actually tell you how far you've climbed up. It does when you die. Okay. It doesn't. Oh, okay. So it doesn't. It does. But it doesn't as you progresses. Okay. That's fair. All right, through here. Okay, so we do have the TV there, but we're going to open this first. This should take us to the last generator, and then we go straight to the boss. Asshole. Really? Really? You felt there was need for that? Come on. Wow. So we can't go through that until it stops the chit chat, and yeah, then we have things turn up. Welcome in, projects. Welcome in.
Faster, faster.
Oh, we're trying. We're trying. What's up, projects? Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. How the devil are you? Thank you for contributing towards the community challenge. If you need me to explain what it is, I can explain what it is. Don't ask me to say it. Let's head this way. How goes? It goes, it goes. We've got a rave part here. That extreme streak, yeah, K Projects is working on that, he's grafting.
You're new, aren't you? I understand the purpose of that helmet. That's breathing of a human barely hanging on alive. So you were eaten by those white fellas. You, too, have had your face scarred. But faces are simply markers of classification. Being human is about keeping your soul beautiful. Wouldn't you agree?
Come on.
I don't really get what you're talking about. But right now, I'm surviving on soul alone. I'm known as Dead Man.
How naive. Too naive. A person's face is what makes them who they are, not their soul. It's obviously the face. One's face.
Anyway, whatever. I got a question for you, man. You know a girl named Juliet? Long black hair?
I've enjoyed my fill of girls with long black hair over the past century. Enjoying their terrified faces shaking.
Jesus, I'm gonna get nothing back for this. And it was definitely cleaner.
See ass old men creep people out.
I sure do love being roasted with some pep.
How is that even possible?
I'm in danger.
Damn right you are.
Yeah.
Hey. Really? Really? Wants to turn up right then? Oh, excuse me? Oh no, we are ahead. I'm looking at the wrong time. I was like, we're only gonna... Oh. Howdy, Papa Shade. How you doing, sir? I was asking how's Dragon Quest going for you, mate? Alright, let's get behind this poop shoot. Justice. Shades, Papa don't preach. Projects, remind me. We need a Papa don't preach. We haven't got one. We should have one, right? We should definitely have one by now. It's been how long?
Side has been burning in my very eyes.
You talk too much.
Are you streaming tonight then, Papa Shade? Not too bad. We'll be streaming later on, so we'll see where it takes us. No worries, mate. No worries. That's good to hear. Good to hear, mate. I did get your message from Excel, and just to let you know, your name is already on there, I believe. If it's not, my bad, but I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, you love to see it, right? We'll take that. We will take that. Plenty of songs in my head now. "28 weeks later." I remember when the first 28 days later came out. Great film. I haven't watched the most recent. I don't know if any of you will have. Cracking apocalyptic film.
Hey, Gilmore! You suck, you jackass! Why don't
You
you shut the hell up?
Agreed. Cheeky little shit. Just because you wanted a special request one. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go straight through a hallway, you know. To be fair, it's catchy. It is. It is. And now, question though, the redemptions that are playing, they're not too loud overall, are they? I have turned them down, I believe. I haven't changed that one because you didn't send me a reminder for that one, Projects, but I will go ahead and change it to the one you requested.
I like persons better than principles, and I like persons with no principles better than anything else in the world.
Now that word, did we make Gordo do Kuvichor? Is that it? Kuvichor? Kuvichor?
Dead man. Okay. I see. All right.
So let's follow the kitty cat down the old aisle.
Grandpa.
Hey, Scott!
Alright, now we got the walking percent part. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't realise earlier when we mentioned it, not earlier, towards the stream yesterday, why the music was so quiet yesterday. Having stream, it's a nice function having stream mode in this, but it seems to cut out too many songs. So go. Yeah, so basically there are some pins in this that give you extra damage to your range but reduce the damage to your melee, and there's also ones that allow you to do extra damage but you take more damage. So I'm thinking maybe we could stack some of those to make it so that our range weapon does more, so that we can, you know, generally chunk for a lot more damage overall. That's the thought process. Whether it works or not, it's a completely different story. I might just get cooked more often and die in fights more. We are fully maxed out on HP now, as you can see by the 2 bars.
Giant, you finished the test.
Right. Is this strange? SOP?
I'm gonna smash you to bits.
No.
Warning. Warning.
Hey, there's plenty of games we have that have the long slow walk. I mean, look at First Berserker when that starts. That has the same principle. A slow motion jump there to finish it off, you know.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some form of slow walk in this game, you know. It's just becoming a theme at this point. But if there's not some form of generalized stroll part, is it really a run? Now we talk to this thing. Can't remember if you know what. I get what you're trying to say. Yeah, that makes that. I get it. Now make sure we talk to this person 3 times and not twice, and then walk away, because that's just wasted time.
Romy, hey. Really? Romeo.
Grandpa, Romeo!
Okay,
Nice.
understood.
No worries at all, good sir. No worries at all.
Hey!
Alright, on to this one, which is the City Hall part. Is there any parts in here that I messed up? Now trying to think.
Themselves.
Red man. That's some.
Can't see shit. Can't see shit. Can't see shit. Oh, I'm being trolled so hard by this game. Honestly.
Agent Romeo.
Hardest part of the game right there. Stand by it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Warning. Warning.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, shotgun doesn't seem to do as much. Not sure why. It's the like at that range I should be killing right at that point.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Fast, ready to go.
Should have went right. Okay, that's my fault. My fault. Rooting there because this door bangs open. Make way around here. Right, let's see if we can get a shift on here.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now, question for the chat. Completely out there, random. Which do you prefer, Dead Rising or Diablo? What style of game?
Danger. Danger. Dead.
Never really sure myself. Completely out of the blue. Completely out of the blue. No particular reason, projects. What do you mean? Just asking a question. Jesus. Apologies if it caught you off guard. Then we open the vault room, go in there, grab the key, come back out, yeah. Oh, there it is. Genetic mushroom, you should expect 20 to 30% success rate. My first time yielded 30%. Okay. Do you want to apply context to the statement? I didn't know you, Void. I'd say you're a strange being. How goes it? And yielding mushrooms. How be your mushrooms, good sir? That was completely out of the blue, project. I mean,
Yeah.
we should be downstairs in the basement area now, I think. He says, completely remembering this game. Ka-ching!
Careful, you've been infected.
Make mushroom supplements as a business, perhaps you Tropics blends, they are a proprietary blend of medical mushrooms like it's made of promote brain health and pathway. Use these type blends in the no, I have no clue. Misa not do mushrooms of any sort of capacity for medical reasons or not. Nothing against them. I mean, I'm just not particularly partial to mushrooms, if anything. Don't mind them be dinner occasionally, but yeah, I won't go on my way to put them in there. I want to see if that bites me in the ass for doing that. We shall see. When did you start that up anyway, Void? New adventure or what? The most at the farmer's market, but they usually get dried and added to mixtures for the benefits, and they usually pays out more as well. Nice, nice. Go up. Continue going up. Nice, nice. No, it's good to see you, the business adventures are paying off, sir. Doing well for you. And the yield is good. I mean, no matter the business, right? Having a good yield is always the way, right? I mean, if anything, this game makes me feel like I'm on mushrooms. Does that count?
Yeah.
Some aggressive genetics lies to me that will allow me to have extra heavy yield. Nice.
I'll be more than happy to destroy you.
That's what she said. She didn't. She didn't. Never said that. Not once. I'm lying to myself. Oh, you know what? Just recover normally. Sweet.
Agent Romeo.
Okay, that is that section done. Did we yield ourselves any more time back? That's the question.
Got a second?
Run, Romeo, run. We'll take it. We will take it. Right, on to the asylum. On to our Silent Hill section.
To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all.
You're so deep, man. You're just so deep.
Roll me up. Here now. Oh, yeah.
Grandpa.
Romeo!
This thing. Thank you.
Registered. Registered.
One thing I could look to apply into here to make things quicker. Maybe having the details of where on the joysticks they should be. The main man Proj. Hey Proj. The 1992.
Yeah.
Sir, can you do me a favor? Just drop me a reminder to note down the on a cheat sheet for the face recognition part. I don't know how I'm supposed to actually do that though. I guess I can give myself a generalized thing like it's supposed to go this way and this way. I guess.
Hey!
Alright, now walking percent. Alright, so we're gonna reset then. We're not gonna forget the washing machine on the second reset. Look at this close turns, good lines.
Yeah.
What now? Just send me a message saying the face recognition things. The you know when you have to like adjust the people's face in this? Basically that, mate.
Yeah.
Hey!
Then we're gonna reset. And then we go back up. This is our little Groundhog Day section.
please.
You rang.
And get over here. All this waiting is gonna make me puke.
Yeah.
Time for cutscene.
Yeah.
And then we head back to the reset door.
Yeah.
Jump scare. Da-da! How you doing? Tape here. Almost forgot this one. And then we go reset door.
Hey!
Du-du-du-du-du-du-du-du.
Hey, Romeo.
Okay, so we're gonna go to first floor again, then go through second door on the left,
Out your goddamn
through a room, turn off tape, and then we're gonna have to bait a grab from the big guy. Do-do-do-do. Not this one here, so second on left. Don't know why I stopped there for a second, I know where I was going. I think I was waiting for a cutscene for some reason.
Hey! Yeah.
Bait grab. Okay, I baited a bit too far up, but should be fine. Just gotta let him wander down a bit. Did I? Oh, did I fudge it up? I did fudge it up. No, I'm really sure. Oh, I'm going the right way. I thought I messed up. I was like, huh? No. It's not faces yet. It's reset them faces. Okay, so a little minor hiccup there, negligible at best.
Stargazer. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry. 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 Hurry.
Hey!
So we're gonna go through shutters here first. Go up, then it's the third floor, and then it's the first door on the right, then the next door on the left, and then we go back down This part, basically, projects. Come on. That was a bit slow. Oh, come on. We want to be here and be as quick as we can. And this time we went for it, all right?
Is that really even possible?
And it's time for subspace time. If you can make sure you blow up the weak point on those, they don't go through the full 3 stages. If I got it first time, we wouldn't have done that. I probably shouldn't have used the studs to knock them down, to be fair. Oh, don't fall. Micah, how are we doing, sir? Marco, somebody else has joined you on the Kern vibe, by the way. I'm going to call it Kern. I'm Kane, Kern, something or another. Alan has been vibing with it pretty heavy. He's enjoying the hell out of it. You almost play with it? Nice, nice. I think Alan's looking to do runs for it at some point, I believe. He's been enjoying it. Only the glowing gloves. Okay, okay. Yeah, little show off over there. Got glowing gloves? Oh, okay. Like, look at this. This is there's a little competition going on here. Can't... Glowing gloves. Is that just the cosmetic, or did the glowing gloves do something? You can see your hands at night or in the dark. Okay. Fair enough. Logic was applied. What? There's enough. There's enough. Go, 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 go. Okay. The question is, will we PB tonight? Oh, don't do that. You did that last time. This way, through here, do the fight room. No TV, we're not done enough. Always that one straggler.
Yeah.
Grab this first.
Bring in the bastards!
And I think we're almost at the end of this. Think. Not the run, but this section. So I don't, just thinking about it, I don't think I need to do that. No, I don't. So that's time I could save by not faffing around with that. Damn me, just wanting to play my ball.
Dr. Hill should be...
Hey!
Let's go.
Come on! Bastards are charged up!
Okay.
Bring in the... They're ready to go.
Do 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 do. All right, that's that section done. I'm okay with how that went. In all honesty.
And so we brought...
All right, we're getting to the bigger parts now. So let's lock in and get this done, eh? Overall, very pleased with how that section went. Oh, we got the traversal point. We got memes percent coming up, folks. We got memes percent.
There are only two tragedies in life. One is not getting what one wants, and the other is getting it.
Dead man.
Wilco.
I did that last time.
Young man, what's unfortunate side? What's unfortunate time? Dead man.
I just needed just the... Sometimes I think it's just easy just to let it miss and go from there.
Registered.
Alright, off to the occult. Let's just see him as a face recognition thingy. Hello, Sarah Connor, we're back.
Dead man.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. The little knock, but oh well. Could have been worse. No. All right, that wasn't as bad. Oh, dude, really? When it crashes, if it'll crash, I'll try later. I mean, the game looked interesting, Wicked. I will give you credit there. It did look interesting.
We're ready to go.
Alright. So, blue and thingy. So we want one there. No, that was correct. Leave that one there. Okay, I always get that one wrong. It's a 2-hour fast-paced move pretty in depth for how short the game is. No, that's fair. That's fair. I've never really had a game, to be fair, before until you mentioned it, and that's probably the first time I've seen it. So, yeah, it looks interesting. You're still streaming, Wicked, or is that just kind of ruined the vibe and? Dead. I took 2 for the last 3 hours. Okay. Went the wrong way. Down the stairs. Thank you, Zone. It's okay. I didn't want to jinx it. It's okay. It will suffice for now. There is time that it can go wrong. Like stuff like that. How's the 100% routing going? About fixed FPS. When's that? Is that out now or? It's out on PC, Lisa. Wow. I haven't checked. I haven't checked if there's an update. I doubt there is. I mean, I haven't really noticed anything, but then again, Mm. Do 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 do. Right. Ladder percent. Yeah, how goes the routing for 100% zone? Don't envy your job there. I know it's not your job, but you know, I don't envy your decision there. Shall we go with? We'll go with that phrasing. What game is 100%? So Zone is the mod for this game, and he's routing the 100% run in this, where effectively you I've been working on it a ton, but roughly 10% done. Okay. Yeah, so where you do the full run, but the obviously thing you'd have to do is the 100% of the game has to be completed. Yeah, basically leaderboard, sets up the runs, things like that, like I am for First Berserker. He's the moderator, so he'll verify the runs and all that kind of stuff. Hardest part is maxing out the garden. I wouldn't have thought that. Then again, don't really think about it much in that aspect, I guess. I know there's a quicker way of getting down there, but I will come out. So I think Korea is all RNG. Yes, for battle chasers, yes. And rapid and Gunner's Heaven. Yeah, battle chase, good little game. I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. So there are those who obviously, if there's only one person on a leaderboard, on a thingy, they can verify their own runs. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, as long as it's per thingy. Me personally, I always drag one of the 80% into it because I don't like to verify my own runs. But that's just me.
Bring in the bastard! Bastard to charge!
But yeah, you can still run it. Most people are made mods or verifiers for the games because they are active in it. And it's quite helpful to know, especially when you're verifying a run, to know the run overall. Which I was going to ask about it. I haven't looked at the badges, so at the moment I just have the badges that give extra damage. Enlighten me, Zone, because I started looking at the badges. I was trying to figure out which one it was. I haven't seen all of the 80% run, personally. I'm still kind of winging it. So are you going to tell me that I get more for not having these bastards equipped? Is that what you're about to tell me, aren't you? Because if so, then maybe so, yeah. Maybe so. Ghost and Rama gives you more damage than ever. Okay, that's chunky, yeah. I don't even know if I have Ghost or Armor.
Bloody summer is ready to go! Bring in the bastards! Bastards are charged! Bring in the bastards!
Danger. Danger.
How are we doing, Sancho? Is it doctors? Are we doctors and nurses tonight? What's the plan again? Alright. That wasn't a very good fight, to say the least. I think it's this way? Yeah, this way. What? You cheeky little sod.
Bring in the bastards! They're ready to go!
Dead man.
I think this is... You'd like this, Wicked. There's a lot of stuff going on, let's just put it that way.
Dead man.
Can you move? Thank you. Thank you. Jesus, woman. You need an RSVP?
Yeah.
I don't like being made to go slow. What are you playing at? Why you got barf on me?
Dead man. Dead man.
Yeah.
We're losing time there for no reason.
Dead man.
It's Ghost-orama, okay. Now, Zone, follow-up question. Where do we pick up Ghost-orama from?
Bring in bastards and Todd. They're ready to go.
But yeah, there's a lot of things going on in this. You would probably like this.
Denny! Romeo, wait! He's coming! Son of a bitch!
You got my Jenny. You would be very animated right now. Terrible on a hover, I'm pretty sure. Okay, we'll have to have a gander at that. Hang on. Doesn't Thingy use it if he uses the any percent run and he's doing it on the easiest mode? How's he using that then? Can't be on hard mode then. Right? Well, I'll have a look anyway, but that makes sense. 50% extra damage is pretty substantial.
What's this?
Bastards are charged up. Bring it. We're ready to go.
Let's get out of here. What? I've never been hit by a rock there before. So we don't need to do all that. Don't fight him, just run. Oh, thanks.
Dead man.
We should have paid for a 100% yesterday. 330. 330. I'm gonna just happily stay in second if nobody runs out. I'm just gonna happily stay in second. Oh, I imagine it is. Do you just have to? Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, no, keyboard mouse always gonna be quick at that stuff. But yeah, no, 330, no, that was insane. That run is basically data processing. See, sorry, no, data entry, data processing. I mean, I don't even know what was going on the screen when I was doing it. Oh, I forgot I had to walk here. Walking helps. It's a trap. Can't be a trap, but it must be a trap. It can't be a trap.
sincerity is a dangerous thing, and a great deal of it is absolutely fatal.
Three times because my notes were messed up. Ah, okay. And here's you on about aiming for sub 7. Now you're aiming for sub 3. It's trolling me. It's trolling me. It's trolling me. It's trolling me. That game mode. No. Just explain to me why. So on obviously controller, it's just attached to the left stick. Why is it not attached to my left and right stick for different panels? Also, I did want to ask Zone, the room trials, where are they located? Are they there? Because I know there's a boss. Is it a boss rush mode in this? That one guy that's at the desk. Oh, okay, it's him. Silver Socks. I know the guy. Shot me in the head. And here was me trying to figure out which bastards are the best, and the whole thing is just to not to have them, which I feel is a waste. I like the idea of them at least. I mean, it depends on how powerful you can make them as well, because I mean, in New Game Plus, if we can make them just absolutely destroy, they might be worth it. Alright, now remember this part. Engage brain.
Yeah.
But they also use the Hyperion. I saw Hyperion. I've seen that one pop up. All right. I think I've got the shotgun one on. I did have the one for the melee weapons, because the melees actually do quite a bit of damage, but yeah, I think the range is just it. Thank you for the contribution there, Wicked. Wish I could just throw 60k into it. I can't even let people, it always maxes out as 2k. The reason for that, Wicked, is just to show commitment. You know, so you don't just yes. I mean, it's gonna be done at some point, isn't it?
Bastards are charged up!
Ah, boo. I've got to change that one because Projects is requested just to have the one I did. What did you do? I did exactly basically just that. Is like I only clipped it. Cooked in a good way or a bad way here? I mean, FPS sounds good having FPS? Or is it absolutely just killing the game? That's alright, mate. Same old, you know the drill. I got work tomorrow as well. No, Rosanna, go get some rest, mate. You take it easy. Thanks for tuning in as always. I hope your Kern session was good. I'm gonna go with Kern. That's the word I'm going with. Okay. We can route that slightly different then. We don't need to get the purple thing first. We can go straight there. So we can just get it on the way to the main hall. That's the vault key, we don't need that. Cam Saver is now my PB. Nice. I didn't do today, so I called off my now job to go while I was streaming there. Okay, nice. No, anything good? Promotion, just change of pace. What are we thinking, Wicked? Better everything, good. It's always good to hear. Back this way. Wastewater management for maintenance. Okay, okay. Make through. Yes. And this is the right way? Survey says. And up we go to the clock tower. Oh, we can't change weapons whilst we're in here. Okay. This one. Really don't like this one. Oh la la la. Back right. I have no idea about that one, but we'll try. F. Should have changed back to my shotgun. We'll do it now.
Nightmare for a nightmare. I'll make sure you never dream again.
Oh, okay. Oh, crap. Hmm. Maybe if rerouted. Actually, no, definitely. If the damage is that substantial as well, then definitely when rerouted. Yeah, I'm not finished with it. I got down from 6 hours to under 5 hours now. So I took an hour off that run already. Next goal for that is sub 4.5 is what I want to aim for next. Excel's previous one was 4:39 from when he used to run it back in the day. So my aim is to get some contention around that point. He hasn't run it since it's been updated though, so there is also that part. Four hours is world record. Nope, didn't work. I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, we'll give it a go and see what best we can do with it, because we want to run. I want to run the new game version as well, not just New Game Plus, which obviously takes a little bit more thing because you're not overpowered and you don't have all the setup and that. So there's a lot more. I say there's a lot more that goes into it, and who knows, might even try the harder difficulties too. I did that. Okay. I've done so many I wouldn't even know where to start. There's a collections of ones that stand out to me that, you know, we're definitely interested in. The thing is, I don't particularly have I can't say I have a favorite. I've enjoyed all the speedruns I've done. There are some that just get one and done, and I guess I haven't enjoyed those as much, or I haven't found the speedrunners as interesting as I would like it to be, or it's again, or the other aspect of it is it's very toxic, where it's very finicky. So there's all things like that. But like, I mean, I ran Final Fantasy 9s, Resident Evils, Lord of the Rings, this, Gears of Wars, and now, you know, I'd like to say I've ventured into quite a varied bunch of what I do. So for me, I think I just like the aspect of all the variety that I've done. Now this part here is a little break, so I'm going to be back in just a moment.
夢が夢ならワンチャンあるかな。もしも明日が晴れならばあいつの機嫌も良くなるかな。
望み叶えた前踏み出す一歩 Like this show 視点は三人称かなかな日暮らしなくヒットアイラン雨なら土砂降りまたゲリラ
空間ではラッキーアイテム良い兆し、吉兆吉兆びっちり並んでる大体揃ってるマイマシン操りランデブー。
ちょっと不安なオートパイロット落ち着く縦横16ドットかつてモブキャラはみ出すアウトローホットフラッシュ決めて熱暴走 Y2K からナンディケーシンセミネイこのエブリデイまた夢か幻かラスボスかここでリセットかオープンワールドのデッドエンジンとコードでハッキング突破してまた夢か幻か振り出しかハッピーエンドはどこだ Y2K からナンディケーシンセミネイこのエブリデイまた夢か幻かラスボスかここでリセットかオープンワールドのデッドエンジンとコードでハッキング突破してまた夢か幻か振り出しかハッピーエンドはどこだ。
Romeo!
The truth is rarely pure and never simple.
I mean, it's a bit of a sucky time to have that kind of break. Where's that kind of break like midway through the run? Barbecue beef hula hoops. Or I bought them earlier, but I didn't get a chance to snack on them, so I was like, share them with Miss Gordo. Nom them. Nom 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 nom. Alright, final hurdle, folks. I don't think we have thingy in it, but we're gonna certainly give it a try. Give it the old college try, as they say. Your FPS or my FPS? Yeah, it doesn't seem to have dropped. I have noticed that. Alright, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. We'll take that. Maybe updated when I weren't here, to be fair. Yeah, the FPS does seem more stable. You are right. The Magris, it usually just goes out the window. Move your asses. Okay, everybody just wants to turn up. Oh, come on. At this point, it's not about the aim. Let's just get it done. We realistically don't even want to engage there, but if there's enemies there, we can't trigger the thing. That's my own fault. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, perfect. I mean, didn't want to say it, mate, but you called it. You called it. Alright, let's just get over here.
Danger. Danger.
Wow. But I know how to bait my clips. Oh. Are you on, like, thingy and all that?
You just assured me that I could speak.
Not assuring anything. I'm under arrest.
Look, I'm under what? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis beat.
You did. You did.
Why did you do this? For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's nice headlocks up. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good. And you, sir, are you waiting
For what? For the run I'm doing right now?
Get your hand.
My last run is. And soon to be this one, potentially. Can we get out of there, please? Potentially, unless we sack it off, you know, unless we mess it up. But the last one, the current is 234. No, 255.42 for this. I didn't mean to do that. Never mind. Okay, just do that for the sake of it. Why not? Have yourself a grand old time doing that. Ooh. That takes me to the bottom. That's a cook run. And that is the unfortunates of this part here. We're going to run it back up. We're going to run it back up. That's unfortunate. We lose no end of time here, but it's It is what it is. These things will happen. It is time safe for next run, 100%, but we might actually just route the other run differently anyway. I don't like taking the save points as you go up here, but I might actually start putting them just for safety. But I normally don't stand on that ledge there. So I get for throwing things in there that are, you know, sometimes I'd rather just risk the ladders. I mean, you can unfortunately, you ain't surviving that fall. Fall damage is a thing. I mean, I was trying not to, mate, but unfortunately I dashed forward to try and stop myself from being knocked off by the birds and that, and that's exactly what happened. These things will get you. Just in case now. I ran them all the way around for no reason. My bad. So I got the pistol out. I'm using the pistol because obviously it's quicker to pick off the things. Are you a Doom fan? Yeah. I'm going with a bit of Doom. So I never usually engage in that because I'm down here, and that's probably where I should have stayed. Is the beam is your special? That's just my that's, yeah, they're referred to as bastards. Alright. Yeah. Birds are the worst thing in this last section. Without a doubt. So we're not getting subs through 230. We're probably not going to get massive save otherwise, because we did have to track back a lot. Who knows? We might still get some, but it won't be as good as we want it to be. Knowing that they have to go out there like that. Ooh. Got PTSD from falling off now. Now, I recall he goes at the ladder here. I'm not sure if it's quicker going at the ladder or running the loop here. We kind of just went YOLO there. Did he check I was in the right space? I saw that as like, you are kidding me. That bird's gonna hit me just as I come out of here. Sweet. Doors percent.
Yeah.
Go, 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 go. We are certainly going to lose some time here, but we'll pocket it for next time. Oh, there goes the FPS. Probably. Jesus Christ. Okay, this is bad. Okay. Let's try and get this done.
Hey, let's finish this story.
And then I think after this zone, I'm gonna go and grab that thing, or whatever it is.
Famous intergalactic naked.
We'll have to give it a go. Okay. Jesus Christ. Ew. We lost a good amount of time there. That fight went very clean as well, to be fair. Thank you for the GG zone. Thank you.
We are connected.
Need to stop beating my own record. Yeah, three minutes thereabouts, yeah. Just from that fall alone. Now it'll be a case though of trying it with the other part and seeing how different it is in terms of boss fights. I left music on this time because I don't care. This tune needs to hit Spotify. Alright, let's have a look at this then. Hyperobia. Increase normal range attack power by 50% but decrease normal melee attack power by 30. Okay, that's substantial. I think I have that one. I do actually think I have that one. There we go, folks. It's a nice little cheeky PB. We'll take it, you know. Another new record. Can't complain at that. Okay, yeah, that's what's looking at. Ghost-orama. Increase normal attack power by 50% if no bastards are equipped. Okay, so that plus Hyperion, there's a 100% increase in damage. And yeah. Oh, let's have a reduce HP to 1. I'm surprised that's not going to be a run zone. HTP run. Double power, but you've only got 1 HP for the entirety of the run. Imagine how toxic that would be to run. Be back in a sec. Let this play. Okay, oh, sorry folks, it didn't start. My bad. My bad. Not that we haven't all seen this part before. The real thing we do this run for. The anime scene at the end.
Hatchblood camouflage off. Preparing to attack.
Emergency power unit. Cut.
Power unit has been released. Transferring main power to EF.
EF receptor unit activated. Opening EF conduit.
Conduit release confirmed.
Commencing EF injection.
I think we've seen this enough, haven't we? We have seen that an awful lot. Let me see if I can get into this and get some of the other pieces then, and we'll try an alternative setup. And then what I'm not doing another full run this eve. There. So there. I mean, I don't like those splits now. I like the whole idea of having the other one, which was it's nice, like 20 minutes difference. Now it's gonna be like 30 seconds at best. God damn.